Hey gang, got another video here, and right here I got the Pearl Export snare shell. Gave it a light sanding. Here's the joint. I sanded that a little bit. I didn't go too insane sanding it. I gave it a light sanding, cleaned it up, and I just taped it all off on the inside. I want to tape off all the holes. And I did my best just taping off the edge. I don't want to paint this bead edge here. I want to keep it, a little bit away from that. You're never going to see it. The head is going to come down and cover anyway. And then here I've got the Pearl Export 14 by 11 shell, and I'm gonna do the same thing here and mask this off. I didn't bring my tripod, so I can't do a video of me taping it off, or I would. Basically, like I've said, you just kind of want to run your finger along this edge here, and this edge is perfect. I don't feel any dings or bumps or gouges. Flip it over, check this edge out. Again, this edge is perfect. So I did give it a light sanding. It's very, very smooth and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one the tape treatment. Now, this snare originally was going to go with this 14, 16, 18 setup, but there has been a change, like I talked about in the previous video. This is the Pearl Export snare. I actually came up on the Pearl ECX, the all maple with its beautiful lacquer finish, all maple shell. It's coming from Japan. That drum is now going to go with the 14, 16, 18 setup. Here's the 14-inch shell. This snare now has been demoted down to my Pearl Roadshow kit. Well, I'll tell you, it's not actually a demotion, because that beginner entry-level Pearl Roadshow kit is going to be my live gigging, but it's a good setup, because when it comes down to your setup, you want to have a good snare. And this is an upgraded snare. I am not going to be using a Pearl Roadshow snare drum. I am actually going to be using a Pearl Export snare drum with my Pearl Roadshow gig rig, and the monster Zep kit 14, 16, 18 is going to see that Pearl Export all maple lacquered snare drum. The Pearl Roadshow is seeing an upgraded snare, and the Zep Export kit is seeing a upgraded snare drum. You really want to use a good snare drum. On my Silver Sparkle kit, I'm actually using a Pearl Masters snare drum on that. It's good to upgrade your snare drum if you can, because this is the drum that you're going to. This snare drum here, it doesn't sound quite as nice as my Pearl Masters snare, but I'm a lot more confident that this Pearl Export snare, it's going to hold up more than, say, a Pearl Roadshow snare. So, yeah. So, that's about it. I'm going to tape this 14-inch shell. I'm going to paint these two. And then I'm going to come back after these are done. And I'm going to concentrate on the 16 by 18 floor tom shell. And then when that's done, I'm going to bring in the 22-inch bass drum shell and paint that. This project is going to go for a while. Now when you paint, look, you want to use a primer. Don't use the cheapest paint. If they have $5 cans of paint, step up to the $6 cans of paint. You want to use a primer. Now I got this over at Lowe's, and they had a white primer and a gray primer. Well, they didn't have any white primer left, so I just went with the gray. It doesn't really matter, but you always want to do your coats of primer. You don't want to paint bare wood, because the paint, it's not going to have an incredible bond. You use the primer and it will give you a really good surface that is covered, because you're going to do like 4 coats of primer. It's going to give you a really solid surface that the paint is going to be able to stick to. This is the dark walnut. This is the color of the Roadshow kit. So I'm going to paint this snare in this color here. This is going to go with my walnut kit. I painted it in walnut. Now the Zepp kit, I have thought about it, and I was going to do it in dark blue, but now I've opted for gloss black. The snare drum and the 16-inch floor tom that are all maple lacquered, they're black. So this is going to match those drums much better. It's going to be a sure thing. So that's all I'm going to say today. I'm going to tape this up and give it the first coat of primer. And I'm going to get this video posted within a couple days. I'm going to try. It's been a pretty busy summer this year. So I'll be back when I get these shells finished priming. I'll do a video before I start on the painting.